Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess it's official. Elon Musk said if Donald Trump passed the big, beautiful bill, the next day he would launch his America Party. And so here we are. Musk tweets out yesterday and says Independence Day is the perfect time to ask if you want independence from the two party system. Musk gets around 65, 66%. People say that yes. Of course, this is a global poll. It's not just based off the United States. These are actually really bad numbers for Musk. 34.5% say no. And Musk says, oh, it's by a factor of 2 to 1. Again, it's you can vote in the poll. If you're outside the United States, a lot of Musk's fans are from other countries. But Musk says today the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom. Elon Musk officially announced the formation of the America Party. And so Musk also kind of mocking conservatives, saying the replies to this announcement are comedy gold, saying that down below. And so this is going to be a total disaster for Musk. Now, if you're a Democrat, you have to be encouraged by this. Whether or not Musk will have the political power, certainly you would think they've got significant money, or he's got significant money to put behind this. This could be a little bit of a nuisance if you are the Republicans. I don't know exactly what Musk plans to do in terms of the level of influence they'll have with this party. There are several different legal barriers that Musk is going to have to go through to even be able to put up candidates or influence elections, whether it's in the Senate, the House, local elections, mayoral elections, obviously the presidential election. It's very hard to get on ballots in different states. But this is something to where Musk, with what he's done recently, would likely, to a degree that we're not too sure about, he would likely siphon off more Republicans than Democrats. What degree is that? What is his overall level of influence? It's nothing close to Trump, because there have been opinion polls that have been done in the United States recently when Trump and Musk had their feud that said people side with Trump, Republicans side to Trump at like a 95% rate in terms of popularity within the Republican Party. If you had to pick one, Musk or Trump, the optics of Musk launching this, calling it the America Party. He was born in South Africa. I understand he's made his company in the United States. That's great. He's made the U.S. a lot of money and a lot of economic overall wealth with quality jobs, but also he's used the U.S. as a vessel to do that. It'd be very hard to do that in any other country when you look at our current pro-capitalist setup. So Musk also has to realize that. But when it comes to this, it seems like what Musk wants to do is affect the Congress in a way to where if he could maybe siphon off 7 or 8 seats with his America Party, win different local elections, state elections, he could maybe hold things up. And honestly, what he's saying is create more gridlock within Congress. For example, you've got the big, beautiful bill. When you've got a bill that sweeping, there are going to be some negative things about it that people don't like. Not every single thing is going to be positive. What happened is Musk threw a fit. He cried and he said, well, if we had 8 or 9 people that were within Congress, whether it's the House or 2 to 3 senators, we could potentially stop this from passing and create more political gridlock and force more concessions from Trump. And so he's also thinking about possibly doing that. But in terms of him creating this, just being from South Africa, being an immigrant, throwing a bunch of money behind this, there's nothing really authentic about it. And it's this thing that a lot of people have said, at least within the past 10 years, as there's more and more polarization within politics. It's like, well, why don't all the moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans come together and create their own political party? And I would guess that's probably what Musk is trying to do here. There are other ways that you could kind of attack we'll see in terms of this party and how maybe anti-Israel they are. I know there are some people that want Trump to be, more anti-Middle East involvement, anti-money to Israel. I don't think Musk is really going to go after that. I think this is going to be a more moderate situation to where he wants to get moderate left-wingers, moderate right-wingers, but I do think he would siphon off more Republicans than Democrats with this party. And so we'll see how this ends up happening in terms of the legal barriers for this party to influence certain elections and develop and be created? And is there going to be an individual behind this? It can't be Musk in terms of actually running. If somebody wanted to run in 2028, is that something they would consider? How long is it really going to take for them to even gain power within Congress at any level? You've got to be a little bit annoyed, at least mildly annoyed, if you are Republicans, with Musk doing something like this where he's a complete loose cannon. He does the whole Doge thing, it doesn't go well, whatever you want to blame it on. They didn't cut as much money as people thought. They didn't go after any of the areas in which the government spent most of their money, which is entitlements and defense. The defense spending got raised by 150 billion. And I mean, I guess the Trump did cut Medicaid for illegals, which, yes, there are. How about that another psyop that liberals try and say, well, illegals don't get Medicaid? Well, obviously, if we're cutting Medicaid by 70 billion per year, yes, there's a reason that we're cutting it, because illegals certainly got Medicaid, and it's in state laws within California that everyone gets Medicaid, and everyone, they don't deny anyone. So, there's certain loopholes that needed to be cut, and then also able-bodied people, which anytime you cut an entitlement, it's going to be a big, big problem. And so when you do that, and Trump has the tax cuts, and they say, well, you give all these tax cuts. Well, the tax cuts are extended from the 2017 tax cuts that Trump gave. But the overall point of this is it could be mildly annoying for Republicans. We're going to have to see how it develops with Musk and this party. I was thinking maybe he wouldn't even do it. He puts up this poll, 66% of people say, yeah, create it. It doesn't seem like it's going to go well at all. But if you're a Democrat, you're probably encouraged by this, if anything, just because it's a potential choking point within the Republican Party to siphon off a few seats. And if it's more moderate, rather than have everyone galvanized, I mean, even with Trump, the way in which Trump won, he won very emphatically. And Musk, he's got a huge ego, and I would imagine that he thinks that he's the reason that Trump won, when it's just not the way it works in U.S. politics. Everyone gets money from billionaires. The Democrats got more overall funding. Did that help Kamala Harris win? No. Kamala was a terrible candidate. That's the real reason she lost. And also Trump, he had the assassination attempt. There was a lot of momentum. Biden was terrible. He was a corpse. Couldn't function in a debate. There were a lot of problems within the Democratic Party that contributed to Trump winning as easy as he did. Not just Elon Musk, who, by the way, is like, I gave $250 million. Well, Zuckerberg gave $400 million in 2020. Did Zuckerberg win the Democrats 2020? Maybe it was the mail-in ballots that won them in 2020. But the point of it is Musk has a huge ego. He's obsessed with himself. He really wants to be involved in politics. And it's been reported that Musk, he was trying to go into these high-profile meetings. He didn't have the security clearance, and they had to deny him it, and he'd get real angry. So it's an ego thing, and he wants to be more involved, and the administration was shutting him out. And then he gets in the argument with Scott Bessent, and Bessent punches him, and then he has to lie and say his kid did it. So there was a bad ending with Musk and Trump, but this whole thing with this new party, it's just random. And like, I can kind of understand there's been this thing the last 10 years because of social media and the Trump factor, where everyone hates each other, and why isn't there just a new independent political party? But you're more than likely just splitting the right to a degree. I don't know what degree. I'm not sure how many. Like, I don't think many people at all would follow Musk, but unfortunately, it doesn't take that many. Especially if you're talking about this party somehow getting on all the ballots in all 50 states in 2028. That becomes a bit of an issue, especially with Musk's funding apparatus. That becomes a problem. But I don't know if we would ever get to that point. And also this is probably Musk trying to get leverage over the administration, saying, look at what I just did. I created this party. If you want me to stop doing this, you need to give me X, Y, and Z. That could be another thing at play here. And Musk always hides it and says, no, I'm doing it for America, and I want this independent party to do extremely well. Well, sometimes if you've got a left wing, a right wing, and someone in the middle, the person in the middle gets run over. And I mean, sometimes you're in the middle of the road, you're going to get run over. Sometimes that's what happens. I mean, with these independents, we understand, yes, there are things. I mean, with me, there are things that I agree with liberals on, like renewable energy, but that doesn't make me an independent. I'm right wing. So it's like, what am I supposed to be an independent? It's just pandering. It's stupid. It's people that can't make up their mind is really what a lot of these independents are. Or if you're apolitical, that's fine. I don't really have anything against you, but we'll see what ends up happening with this situation with Musk creating this party and how far he'll actually take it, because certainly we know he's got a lot of money. And if he puts a ton of money behind some local races, especially when it comes to the House, there is some potential depending on the races he picks, there is some potential for the America Party, as it's called, to gain some representation within the House, I would say, especially if they outspend everyone by a ton. But I don't know. It just doesn't really feel like Musk has much appeal in the United States, honestly. Like, the Republicans are going to choose Trump over Musk. The Democrats already hate Musk. He's this rich billionaire from South Africa who it seems all inauthentic and non-organic. It seems it's just not an organic new political party. It's just bought and paid for. I don't think people really like that. Even if it is this, oh, we're going to be independent and it's the will of the people and the Republicans and Democrats are the same exact thing. By the way, don't tell a liberal that because they think, Trump and Republicans are the most racist, worst people in the history of the world. And, alligator, Alcatraz, now they're calling it, the next death camp and stuff. And so if you tell, that's like a really bad thing when you say that because they'll be like, how dare you? How dare you say we're the same as them? But obviously that's a common thing that independent people say. They're two sides of the same coin. And to a degree, they're right with certain things. Certain situations, they are right when it comes to the government in general, especially establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats. But obviously, we're very happy Trump's in and not Kamala. You look at the border, it's night and day on how it would have been with Harris. But either way, we'll see what Musk ends up doing with this party. I think it could be a mild annoyance. Maybe some house races if there's a ton of money dumped by Musk. Some house races in certain districts could be problematic, but we'll have to see, I guess. It takes a lot of years to really gain political power if you're a new party. A lot of years to have any chance. I mean, we've had the two-party system. There's been other parties in the 90s. It just hasn't happened. So to me, it's very unlikely it's really going to do much. We'll see how long Musk tries at it with this new America party. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.